Welcome to the Ska History Hour with your hosts, Jose Rojas
Hello.
and myself, Daryl Rubio, wherein the purpose of this channel is to spread awareness of ska music and its subgenres to the world. Our guest today is the vocalist of the New York Citizens, Robert Tierney. Rob, thank you so much we appreciate the time you're taking to share with us your stories and your music to the ska community. I see that your band started around 1987 under the name Legal Gender and then later changed the name.
That's
Jose,
right.
go ahead with your question.
Yeah, so the band name, how did you guys decide on your name? That is
The
yeah,
New
how
York.
did you start?
Well, we were thinking about some sort of unity, something that brought us together. What did we have in common? We threw our names into a hat, our ideas. The Citizens came out as the winner, and a week or two later, I changed it to the New York Citizens.
Okay. Okay. It's cool. It's a perfect name to represent you guys, right?
And we're also the NYCs, yeah.
Yeah.
So it worked both ways, yeah.
Okay, okay. Cool.
And then the releases that you guys have are you've got a demo tape as Legal Gender 1985, I
Right,
believe. And then you've got the 7-inch with Legal Gender, Overcast with that single.
right. And the
You
scene
guys
in
also have
Ibiza.
On the Move 1988,
Yep.
which is the US version. And then same year, Pounding the Pavement was released in the UK in 1988 also.
Yes, it
You guys
was.
also have a cassette tape, and cassette tape was only Moon Records released in the US.
Yes.
This Stranger Things Have Happened is the UK release. You
Right.
guys also have Brooklyn's on Fire, 7-inch. And then you
Right.
have The Truth About the New York Citizens, which
He
I
has it all.
just had here, and I didn't put up. So those are the ones that we know that you have. What were the first bands that you heard about when you first learned about the ska genre?
Oh, I would have to say it would be the specials on Saturday Night Live. They came out and blew our minds. What was it, 1979, 1980? And from there, I found out about Madness, the English Beat, the Selector. Uh, and then eventually I saw Bad Manners. Coconut and I went to see Bad Manners, and that really changed everything for us. I was thinking, we have to be in a band like this. And next thing you know, we're at a Toaster show. Next thing you know, we're backstage and we're talking a bucket. And we've got a band. And, one thing led to another. And we had an idea for a single. And he wanted to put a single out. And we were great with that. It was going to be, I think it was, God, was it like Smash the NF? And, oh, there were two other songs that never got released. Bats in the Belfry and Cue Ball. And it was supposed to be a single. Then it turned into an EP. He wanted to put out a 12-inch EP. And we were like, okay, we'll add a couple more songs. We'll write some songs. And because we didn't want to do the old Legal Gender songs. And so that eventually turned into an album, and that was On the Move. And, the rest is history.
Nice. So how did the New York Citizens form, the band form, and how was the scene on your first show?
Okay. Well, when we were the New York Citizens, there was already a ska scene, and we played CBGBs, and that was January 1988. And we'd all met in school in one way or another. Um, I met Coconut in college. I knew the guitarist in grade school. Um, I would say that like that was electric, that first show. We were opening up for the Boilers, who were opening up for the Toasters. And it was just great to be the first band on, a great 3-band lineup. And the Boilers were a very underrated band. They really
Mhm.
were.
With hot potato, what was it? Hot potato, baked potato, or boiled potato? I think it was. And then they had,
Yes,
I
that's
have their
right.
album. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
that was the
they have
album we a rock steady. That was
Yeah.
one of the. Yeah, we had that at the house. Yeah, great album, great band.
That was.
They broke up too soon. They really did.
Mhm. Like you guys. So I was lucky to have the opportunity to see your band in 1990 in Hollywood, which was my actual first show ever. And I
that is
still have the
amazing.
ticket stub. I don't know if you could see that.
That is beautiful. That really is.
It
That is
was
lovely.
you guys played last, of course. It was the Skeletones, the Specs, and the Gangbusters, which is John Roy's first
Oh
band here.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I love the Skeletones. We hung out a lot when we were in
Mhm.
California. We went up and down the East Coast, the West Coast with them, and God, there's like no doubt. The Specs were at a lot of shows.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Gangbusters. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Was
did you
that your
enjoy
first?
did you
Was that
enjoy
your
the
first?
show?
Go ahead.
Did you enjoy the show?
Oh, I did. I went to see you guys most of all. You guys were one of the first bands I heard when I got into the ska scene. It was you
Oh, well, I
guys, the
hope you
Toasters,
didn't
and
disappoint.
Bim Skull Bim.
Oh yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
toast is amazing, I can't
Huh?
believe I can't believe Bucket's still doing it. It's amazing that he's still
It,
doing it.
Jose and I just saw them on Saturday in Las
Yes.
Vegas.
Oh,
Punk Rock
tremendous.
Bowling After Party show.
Yeah, it was Linville Golding with the Agrolites backing him and
Oh,
Mephistopheles, your other buddies.
The
excellent. Yeah,
Calamatics. The
sure.
And
Kilograms.
yeah, then the Calamatics. Yeah, it was a great show.
Oh, I just did a show a couple of years ago with the Mephistopheles. I was singing with the Hub City Stompers
Oh
and
yeah.
Spring Heel Jack. I just hopped on stage and we did Shut Up and Listen and Sticky Situation, and
Oh
it
wow,
was really
that would have been
great.
awesome.
Yeah. It was really nice. I mean, it was a heat wave in New York City, but it was really fun. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I wish I was there.
Were there any
Yeah.
pivotal shows or events that you feel helped solidify the New York City citizens ska community?
Sure. I would say that when we played the bigger venues in New York City uh, as like ska nights at the Ritz or ska nights at Studio 54, the Limelight, anything that CBGB's even. I mean that's where the scene started. CBGB's was like such a great central location for everyone, Uh, we did play shows with the Boilers and Second Step, and in basements and in studios, rehearsal studios, and people would just show up and crowd the studio. You couldn't even breathe. Yeah, but they were great shows, And the Toasters were really the only ones who could get a great venue. So we were just, all the opening acts for the Toasters, and that was where you really wanted to be.
Yeah, yeah, awesome.
Now, before the Citizens, you guys and Legal Gender, did you have another name for the band called the Paisleys?
Oh yeah, well the Paisleys were supposed to be. See, I write a lot, so the band were sort of pacifying me by recording an album of non-ska material. It was really like yeah, like modern rock, and
Mhm.
the Paisleys were that. I'm not sure how you ever heard the name. That's really cool though that you know it. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do our research here, and I'm a Citizen
What
ska nerd too. Um,
really? Was it written on the bathroom wall or something? That's really cool. The Paisleys rule, okay?
it was actually and I'll go into it's another question. I pretty much I got it from there. Um, but I'm sorry, Jose, it's your turn, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Now your sound blends traditional ska with punk, funk, and jazz. Was that intentional or intentional with that fusion?
Well, we weren't a ska band originally. We were
Okay.
I guess what would you call it? Mod music, like
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
pre psychedelic, but still dressing sharp. Um, and we were doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And I think what happens is that some people learned how to write ska songs and some people didn't, you know. I honestly think that's what happened.
Okay.
No, there was a certain method to my madness of I didn't have the word like you guys have, ska adjacent. Yeah, I didn't have that word behind me, but that's
Right.
basically what I was thinking. Like if you can write a song like Town Called Malice, I believe that the ska community would enjoy it. Something like that.
Okay. Cool, man.
Now, I read about in the early days, you guys actually opened for the Ramones. Can you tell us about that experience and what year that was?
Oh, sure. We opened for them a couple of times. Uh, yeah, it was great because their audience was very open-minded, number one. Uh, it was surprising that they knew what ska music was, because half the places we played back then, people didn't know what ska music was, and they were kind of scared about it, like, well, is it like hardcore punk? And it's like, well, it doesn't start that way, but a show might end up that way. Um, yeah, but what was the question?
Yeah.
Oh, about your experience opening up for the Ramones,
Oh yeah, and then the Ramones.
such a
Now,
legendary band.
now you come off stage and the Ramones are all standing there like they were on an album cover, and they want to shake your hand and tell you what a great show you played. And that was probably a highlight of my career. Yeah, with the Citizens.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to meet Joey Ramone once here. He came and played at a show that I did with a band from South Carolina called the Independents.
I love them.
Um,
They are a great
yeah,
band.
yeah. It's what was it? The horror ska basically is what they were
Good.
pegged as. But Joey actually produced I think one of the albums that they had, and he invited him to the show, and I was so grateful to finally meet Joey Rohn. That was
Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
highlights of my life too.
Yeah, no, I used to see him around the East Village, just walking around, going into the Continental or, any place around there. And yeah, he was very accessible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, New York City ska has a gritty punk influence edge. Now, how did that city itself shape your music?
Well, I think what happens is we started something. It was, the New York ska scene, and a lot of people from the hardcore scene, you know, back in what, 87, 88, they start looking at ska music as, hey, this is, an alternative to the alternative. And they start jumping on the bandwagon. They start creating bands. Next thing instead of six bands, there's 12 bands, and yeah, it's different. Every band's different. And yeah, but I believe that the New York bands all had that, I don't know, rootsy edge, to them.
Yeah.
Like we'd hear Boilers records and say, yeah, no, we need a song like that on the record. And I
Mhm.
don't know if we ever did. Uh, but yeah, no, I think that, it started out very rootsy. The Toasters came along. Well, they didn't come along. They started the whole thing. And I think they were probably the most pop. And I think it really worked to their advantage. I mean, I saw them as the biggest influence, like, of any
Yeah.
band, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, we were learning from them. We were learning from their mistakes. They were telling us, where to play when we went on tour. Um, yeah, like all those places from Los Angeles up to the Redwoods that we played, the Toasters probably played them before we did.
Oh, so they help you along the way a lot.
Sure, the first two
Yeah.
years, it
Uh,
was, like we were just following, their lead, because they were the only people you could, um, there was a band in Boston, Bim Skeleton. There was, a band in DC called The Now. but they were few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
It's not till you got to New York that you could find like 10 ska bands. A
And
virtual
a lot of those bands, you guys were on a lot of the compilations with. I don't know if you could see that there.
Yeah, no, that represents basically what America was at the time.
Yeah. I guess
That was
the
American
Toasters,
ska.
BIM. Here's you guys, the Citizens, when you guys were singing Dance.
Right.
DANCE.
That's right.
We had bands from where we are, like your friends, No Doubt. We had
Right.
Crucial DBC in Santa Barbara. We had Donkey
Yep.
Show down in San Diego. The Rhythm Addicts, I think, were from Central California. That's old Jimmy Foot stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is American ska in 1988. If you don't know who those bands are, you're a poser.
Yeah. Here's the Mashing Up the Nation one with you guys. This is when you guys sang Rude Girls on this one. This is when the Toasters, there's your band now. I talked to the one of the guys from here still. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is when the Toasters, before they were called the Toasters, are called Not Bob Marley.
Right. Not Bob Marley.
Yeah.
That was very
Not Bob Marley. You guys were also featured on a couple UK releases.
Oh, yeah.
On the Rude Awakening, you guys had what did you guys play here? Where is it? Rude Girls was also on this one.
Yeah, Rude Girls seemed to be the official compilation song. We wanted to get rid of it.
And then on this one, Boxer Shorts came out on Rude Awakening too.
Yeah, and it's a different version of Boxer Shorts.
Is it?
That's
from here.
Yeah.
That's from this one.
Right. That's from the British album.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was, I think one didn't have one of the songs, like the tape or something about the US version didn't have enough songs or something that was different or had more songs than the vinyl UK release. Am I remembering correctly?
I don't recall that. I believe that the On the Move album and Pound the Pavement, they were basically the same album. One was in color, one was in black and white.
One was the UK.
Yeah, but the what was it? Rude Awakening 2 had Boxer Shorts, and it's like this kind of rare version of Boxer Shorts that was never released on anything else.
Really?
Yeah, it was a 1989 version, and it's a little different. It's a little slower. There's a different horn player. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I learned a lot of my ska back in the 90s.
Sure.
Compilations like this, which is amazing. And I know you guys played with lots of these bands, like you said, Second Step. I'm no Urban Blight, of course. Sure. You did the NYC thing with NYC Ska Live with the Toasters, Skadanks, the Steadies,
Bigger Thomas,
and Bigger Thomas. My friend Mark Wasserman. Your friend Mark Wasserman.
Absolutely. Great musician, great songwriter.
Now, after the Citizens, you had a band called the Atwood Nine. Can you tell us a little about that, please?
Sure. Well, the Citizens broke up. I left town for a year. I went to Bucks County, Pennsylvania. That's New Hope, Pennsylvania. I started a band with my friend Dave Anderson, who's a guitar player. We came back to New York, started a band called the Atwood Nine. We recorded a 5-song EP, and he was mysteriously disappeared and was found dead in the Delaware River Gap. And so we stopped the band around 99, or was it 2000? It was right around the time that Wetlands Preserves venue had closed. We just played with the Toasters there. And yeah, I love the Atwood Nine. They were such a fun band. We had Danny Doolin from Skinner Box on trumpet. And we had John Jordan from Me, Mom, and Morgenthaler, who's a great Quebec band. Yeah. And Noodles. Everybody's on that. But no, it was a really fun album to make, and it turned into an album when I met up with Megalith Records. That was Rob Hingley
Oh yeah.
after Moon, right? And so I started talking to Megalith about releasing an album, and so they put out a digital album of the Atwood Nine, and that was really well worth it. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed my years with them. Yeah. And again, if Dave hadn't died, it would have been like, you know, that would have been my band, you know.
Yeah.
But
Sorry to
presently
hear
I'm
that.
working. No, thank you. But presently I'm working with the guitarist of Georgia Satellites, and we're working on a band called the
Hmm.
GC Rockers down in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I'm hoping that we can
Okay.
get an EP out of that. Yeah,
So the G City
Nice.
Rocker.
the GC Rockers. Yes,
What's
down
the G stand for? Georgia?
a Garden City.
Okay. That's awesome.
But it's going to be Bobby T and the G City Rockers. We should have a 5-song EP by next year. I just have to get down to Atlanta.
Very nice.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like Southern Fried Ska. Think of it like that. Yeah.
Southern Fried Ska.
Okay. That
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Sounds
slide.
interesting.
Yeah, slide guitar, and maybe if we can find a pedal steel player. That just turns a song into magic.
That
Doesn't it?
sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas. I do.
Cool. So, what song of yours best represents the spirit of the band and why?
Well,
Back to the New York Citizens. Sorry.
yeah.
Back to you. Sorry. Back to you.
Okay. Well. You have the ska material. You could have something like, I don't know, Sticky Situation or Lemon Jelly, or you could have something like Shut Up and Listen or Ransom. And I prefer the things that are sort of on the edge of ska. The things that are
Okay.
ska adjacent, the rockabilly, the things like Brooklyn's on Fire. I really enjoy those kinds of things. Shut Up and Listen, where it's more like garage gospel than it is ska music.
I love that guitar riff on Brooklyn's on Fire. That
That's
awesome.
See, yeah, I wrote a few guitar licks. That riff I wrote, and also the guitar lead for DANCE. That's probably I'm most proud of that guitar lead.
That was one of my go-to songs. I used to love that song. That's the days when you just sit there and just listen to the music and dance in your room as a kid.
Sure. Wow.
That was me in high school.
Wow. That's amazing. My dream to be someone else's David Bowie. That's great. Thank you.
But I already have a ska man crush, and it's not you. Do you want to know who it is?
Sure.
It's Dan Vitale.
Why
From
not?
BIM. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure.
We interviewed him last month, and I had told him that.
I guess you'd have to. I mean, if you're going to tell me, you might as well tell him.
Yeah, because I tend to, because like a lot of bands like yours, like when I first started into ska and like his and the Toasters, I really nerd out about. So I'm trying to stay cool.
Sure. No, I totally understand.
So, what other bands were you tight with or toured with during the ska boom? Back in the
Okay.
90s.
Well, the main band originally was the Toasters. That we were just following their band, from city to city up and down the East Coast. Then we met bands like The Now, Bim Scala Bim. We played shows with them. When we went out west, it was funny because it was almost like the bands were chosen for us, but they really made good choices. Probably better choices than we would have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like who?
Oh, well, like I said, the Skeletones, the Specs,
Okay.
You can't, you can't ignore how great No Doubt were. When I first
Mhm.
saw them, I was like, I want their drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there were bands up north that we played with. There were
The
bands in the
Uptones.
Bay Area. Operation Ivy. That was
Oh,
the one band who I wanted to play with, and they broke up like months before we got out there. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
because
You
I
also
just
played
think
with
that
the Uptones from the
that's
San
the
Francisco area.
band. That's the band. They were great. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we played Gilman Street with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's an iconic venue too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't the realization that we played there 2 nights in a row. Lucky to play there at all. Uh, and we were headlining. But yeah, gee, wow. Yeah, Operation Ivy, I was just blown away by them. And we got out there and we'd heard that they'd broken up, and it was just, uh awful.
Hmm.
Too short, again, too short-lived, It's like Italian
yeah.
progressive rock bands of the 1970s. They're around for 6 months, they put out one masterpiece and they're gone.
That's right. Now, Mark Wasserman from Bigger Thomas and now from the Fensick
Yes.
interviewed one of your bandmates, Paul Gill, in
Yeah.
2009 about the Citizens.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it was said that all members of the band hated each other during the On the Move recording sessions. Can you confirm if this is true, and if so, how did it all come about?
No, I'm sure there was a time when we hated each other, but it wasn't then.
It
No,
wasn't
no,
that.
no. We were too no, we were too scared. I remember we were very scared, and we went into the studio, and we knew we were recording an album, and everybody was very nervous, and Bucket was there, and he had his microscope, and yeah, it was a very conservative kind of recording.
Mhm.
Um, like compare it to Stranger Things Have Happened, and Stranger Things Have Happened. I was practically in the studio by myself. Yes, there we go. Um,
And is that you in the middle? Where are you? In the middle.
I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm up there with Coconut.
Are you? Oh, here, there you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too bad Chris couldn't be here.
yeah, yeah. He probably could have brought something to the table.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that it was a decent album. It's not like it was a bad album. It didn't excite me when it came out. Whereas Stranger Things Have Happened did, you know. Um,
Yeah. Well, the
but yeah.
National Front, everyone loves National Front also. That's a
Oh,
killer ass one of the Plate of Monsters. This is the
yeah,
first one. This is
right.
my favorite because this is the first one that I learned about. And then, of
Oh,
course, Pounding the
sure,
Pavement is fucking
sure,
awesome.
sure, sure. It's like the first Genesis album I bought. Sure, sure. It may not be their best album, but it was the first one I got.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
So
the
I'm
song
sorry,
Root.
I kind of cut you off.
No, no. Yeah, we didn't hate each other. That's for sure. Not in 1988. Um, I don't know, I don't know what Paul's talking about. I mean, I'm sure there was a time, but it wasn't then. Um,
Hmm.
it would have been more like touring. That's when we really got on each other's nerves. I love being in the studio. Being in the studio to me was like the most fun. After that first album, like it was always fun after that, you know? Like we had total control. Bucket wasn't coming to the studio. He didn't really
Hmm.
buff about it. Um, you know, it wasn't his fault that he was there and we were nervous.
Right.
You know? uh, But yeah, I think it was more like we were just nervous wrecks when we were in there because we were 20 years old and all that. Whereas we were much more into Stranger Things Have Happened. We had just come off the California tour and we had done these songs for 6 months and we were ready to record them. Whereas the first album, we were scraping together songs. Oh, we
Hmm.
need we need at least 8 songs. Well, we got 8 songs, Um, whereas Stranger Things Have Happened, it was only money that, we ran out of, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would have been a great album. Instead, it's a decent EP.
Yeah. Well, it's got I mean, like you said, a lot of iconic songs. Shut Up and Listen, Boxer Shorts, of course, Living in Helltown or Helltown.
Yeah,
Pounding the
yeah,
Pavement, such a great song. And then, of course, your Lemon Jelly. You look so
right,
fine.
right. I mean, I remember the guitarist asking me, could we put Rude Girls on that? And I said, well, it would make it a longer record, but it wouldn't make it a better record.
Mhm.
I wanted to cut the fat out, So it
Right.
was 5 decent songs better than, 10 pieces of
Mhm.
duty.
Mhm. And that's when you guys released that on the other compilations, and then of course the discography of the Truth About, because this has a lot more songs than
Sure.
that we even know. I think there's a different version of National Front on here.
Yeah, it's like a little faster,
And
maybe.
then the Irish opera singer. The Irish
Yep.
opera singer. Who's the one howling in that one? Who's the one? Who's the opera singer in that one?
Oh yeah, that was the saxophone player. Yeah.
Oh,
That
was
that
it?
turns that turns up on a compilation. That was our last compilation song, the Irish opera singer of Albee Square. There is no Albee Square anymore. It's where the Brooklyn Nets play. It's like the parking lot.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
yeah, it's really sad. But yeah, uh, yeah, there's some odds and sods on that CD. We just
Yeah,
we
there is.
just we collected a bunch of songs. We left a bunch out, so the original albums would have some value. Um, yeah, there are some unreleased songs. Ransom's probably my favorite of the unreleased songs, but yeah, sometimes I laugh and I say, well, I just want, the audience to know what I was up against. Let's put all these songs that you wrote out and the songs that I put lyrics to. And, I stopped writing music. I guess it was after Brooklyn's on Fire. So 1994 was, anything we recorded was, musically was written by someone else. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a kind of weird CD, huh? A lot of funk, a
Well,
lot
yeah,
of,
it's interesting. It's yeah, exactly. Now I know that in that same interview when Wasserman asked your bandmate, he said there was probably around 3 records worth of unreleased Citizens material that never made it past rehearsal.
sure.
Now, did you guys ever record any of those rehearsals?
Not that, I mean, yeah, I guess we did, and we taped over them, and uh, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm always writing. I would bring a different song every week if I could. The only reason that I wouldn't bring a new song to rehearsal would be because we were working on an old song. Um, but yeah, we had a lot of songs. Legal Gender, we had probably 2 albums worth of material. Citizens, we probably had 3 albums worth of material. We were very
Mhm.
picky about what we recorded. We didn't just rush into the studio with 30 songs.
Of course.
We, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be expensive not knowing what you're doing, getting into the studio.
Oh yeah, and we would never end up finishing it. We
Yeah.
recorded a live album once, and we never finished that. We just stopped at Lemon Jelly. You know.
Oh, really? Okay. But
Yeah.
you guys have that material to release
Oh
if we
yeah.
ever need.
Yeah, like
Was
the
that for the
lemon.
NYC Live?
No, that was for Stranger Things Have Happened. It's the last song on Stranger Things Have Happened.
No, no. I
Um.
mean the live album. Was that
Oh.
recorded at the what is it? The Wetlands? Is that what it was?
Oh yeah, yeah, and that was National Front, I believe.
Got it. Got it. But
But
those
but
that live album was from that show that you did at the
uh
Wetlands for the NYC
yeah.
Live. Or was it
Well,
different?
National Front was for NYC Live, and Lemon Jelly was for Stranger Things Have Happened. What happens is we recorded
So
an
it wasn't like
entire.
a full show that you did.
Yeah, well, Lemon Jelly came from an entire show, and that show was never mixed. That's basically
Got
what
it.
happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So you just had a few songs that actually were able to be released from that session or that show.
Oh yeah, yeah. We could have released the whole show. We just chose never to go back in the studio. Paul had quit right around that time, so we started looking to the future. We started writing new songs. Like, that's when Ransom came around, 17th Floor, this Happy Land. And Happy Land was supposed to be like a sort of Helltown kind of song. It was supposed to be like the sequel to Helltown. And it ended up being like, I don't know, just like a jam. And, I always felt bad about that because it just never felt like it was like a real song. But that's what happens when you give a band a song. You're giving a band your song and you're saying do the best thing you can with it. And that's what they did, Paul was gone by then, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically the only person who left the band, in my opinion, who really mattered was the keyboard player, O'Sullivan. He was a decent songwriter and I could write songs with him. After he left, I was on my own. So I was writing songs by myself. I don't think the band really liked the idea of their singer writing all their songs. So what I would do was, they're musicians. So they would write music. I would put lyrics to them, and that lasted for about a year, and then the band dissolved. Yeah, we were offered a deal with Tang Records, but Coconut had never mentioned that to anyone in the band, and he just turned them down because I guess he thought that they were no bigger than Moon or no more important than Moon. So we never got on to Tang Records. That was probably the record company for us. Have you ever heard of them?
Yes.
They were.
Yeah, they released the Boss Tones. They released SST, and they released.
Right.
They're more of a hardcore label though.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they had seen us at a Boss Tones show. We played, I think it was Sid's up in Boston. And I guess they liked us enough to ask us to be on the record label, but I hadn't heard about it until 1993, which was like a year later. And eventually, it was heartbreaking,
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Absolutely. And that just, that was like, okay, well, this band's not going to work. And so the Atwood 9 was the next, step.
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
Unfortunately, I don't believe that anybody else started any ska bands after that, which, I was surprised, because there was some
in your area.
Well, from the New York Citizens, no one started a ska band, after that.
After.
They just,
the other members, they just
I never heard about them after that. They just sort of disappeared.
Do you still
they're pretty good musicians?
Stay in contact with the guys?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, kind of a waste of talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you still keep in touch with any of the guys in the band?
Just one of the drummers. Really is like the only one I actually, keep in contact with.
Yeah.
Well, after the band breaks up, you realize, well, what do I have in common with these people on a personal level? And the answer is, well, I used to be in a band with them. I used to go to school with them. I used to, work with them. And after you stop going to school with them, being in a band with them, or working with them, you realize, you really have nothing in common with them, except history.
Right, of course, and some great music.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want to hire them to be in your next band. Like you don't want to make the same mistake twice. That's insane.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the song "Root Girls." It's upbeat, lively, with great composition. Right. I love the lyrics. Can you tell us more about the Root Girls during those times that inspired the song?
Well, I would say that the ska scene was the one scene that I knew of, aside from the goths, that girls actually went to shows. And I think people in the hardcore scene realized that as well when they were starting their ska bands. And we got so many great ska bands out of it, didn't we?
Yeah.
But as
Mhm.
far as the Rue girls go, yeah, there were a lot of girls who would come to shows, and the guys would just basically follow. Next thing you know, you have a full hall of people, dressing sharp and dancing to decent music.
Mhm.
The way they dress, love it.
So you did most of the songwriting? I mean, of the lyrics, since you were
Well,
singing
I
them?
did, I did all the lyrics. I probably did, I don't know, 40% of the music, 50% of the music. You know,
Was it difficult to
I could write a horn line. I could write a guitar lead. You know, I'm more than just a
was it
singer. I'm a singer-songwriter.
was it was it difficult to get the words for DANCE?
I'd
Like
already had that.
no,
Um,
D and then like it says punk rocker DANCE and then it says rude girl DANCE rude boy
yeah,
skinhead.
yeah. I mean, it took about 3, 4 minutes. Yeah, to make that up. Uh, lemon jelly was a funny one because lemon jelly, we had done it at rehearsal. Paul brought the music, I brought the lyrics. The keyboard player hated the lyrics. He thought it was so stupid. And I said, "Yeah, but that's what we want." I said, in the bright, sober daylight, yeah, of course the song is silly. But, play it at CBGB's in front of, 300 people, and, it's going to be a different scene. And, we did, and it went over well, and we never spoke of it again.
It looks like we lost the ski there.
It
I got
serves
another
me
question about
it serves me right
pounding the
over
pavement. Now, I love that bass line, bro. That's wicked. But can you explain how the song was created and what's the meaning
Sure.
behind the song?
Okay, we used to have a house in the Bronx in the 80s, and we had a little room that we called the reggae workshop, and the keyboard player played his keys, and I played the bass, and
Hmm.
he had the keyboard part for Pounding the Pavement. It was basically a play on something that I had written a couple of years before, and so I made up a bass line to his keyboard part, and I went home and well, I was home, but I went into a room where I could be by myself, and I wrote the lyrics to "Pound on the Pavement." Yes.
Okay. So you wrote the bass line, dude. It's awesome bass
Yeah.
line. I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you. It's the
Yes.
only thing that would have fit. That's the way I was thinking. You know.
Okay. And the lyrics, what was the idea behind it? Like,
Well, every song has to be about something, right?
right.
So let's make a song about homelessness, and so that's what I did.
Okay.
It just seemed like
Cool.
the right thing at the right time.
Oh, okay. Is it was a homelessness problem during that time? Or?
Well, that's when we first started seeing homeless families, in the
Oh.
80s, during the Reagan era. And yeah, so by the time that song was written, I mean, we had an original version that sounded like I sang it and I had Coconut sing
Hmm.
as well. And he's really not a singer. So he's sort of like John Lydon, you know, and he's just yelling. And, I come in sort of like Terry Hall at one point, and then he goes back to yelling. And it was a really good version, but it was a little too out there. I don't know if
Yeah.
people would liked it. Where this is sort of happy, peppy, and bursting with love, wasn't it? The citizens version, as opposed to the legal gender version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I always, I was always hoping that the lyrics weren't too depressing to some of those songs.
No,
Uh,
yeah, I like it. That's yeah.
I mean, I was hoping for a certain balance to the lyrics. The
Mhm.
overall. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So, was there any performances with bands from other cities that you noticed stylistically different from New York City, Boston, or West Coast ska?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think there was a big difference when ska when ska went to the West Coast. I would say something changed. The original bands had the right idea, I think somewhere along the line, it just got so bastardized and watered down that it didn't really sound like ska music anymore. Um, I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing, because if you enjoy it, it's not bad. But I do think that the sounds was different, from West Coast to East Coast. Um, we played with a few Midwest bands, and that was kind of interesting because we didn't even know there were scenes, like places like Chicago and Detroit or St. Louis.
Do you remember which bands those were that you played with in the Midwest?
Good Lord. No.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the Midwest was basically just to pay for gas money to get to the West Coast and back.
Got it.
But they were good shows. Like I Can't Sneeze at a great show in Chicago. And we played some festival. I remember at was it Medusa's, and it was a great show. And it was a few of those Midwestern bands, and I can't remember their names, but they'll remember us.
They will. They will remember you. Now, what are your fondest memories about being in the New York Citizens?
Oh, I think it was probably recording Stranger Things Have Happened. It's like I knew that the band was hot at that time because we had been playing a lot, and they knew the songs. We go in the studio, we bang them out, the rhythm tracks, and then we could spend time on things like, I don't know, cello solos and, backup vocals and radio recordings that were, like, I'm trying to do like krautrock on top of, reggae. Like you're trying to go beyond what the last ska band did, you know? And back in 1990, it was probably a lot easier for me to do something more than the last ska band did, because I don't think that many bands were thinking outside the box back then. I think a lot of bands are thinking more outside the box these days.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's so many different subgenres of ska.
Absolutely.
And you guys
Yes.
were one of the first that were mixing. You guys and Fishbone, I think, really.
Yeah,
were
I
the ones
mean,
mixing
yeah,
about the other.
right. Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, Fishbone. I think the difference was that Fishbone were being glorified for doing that, and we were being like vilified for doing that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you play a funk tune at a ska show, and suddenly people go into the bar. You know,
Right.
um,
Do
that.
you think it's
But,
because
but,
it's a
but,
bunch of white guys playing funk and Fishbone are a bunch of black dudes?
well, maybe they were doing it better, or maybe
That too.
or maybe or maybe the ska scene in New York back then was so narrow-minded that they would not accept a band doing that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
yeah. I mean, look at Urban Blight.
Yeah.
You never heard about Urban Blight after they stopped doing anything that was remotely like ska. They were just sort of banished from the scene.
Right. When they put out Playgrounds and Glass, it was like so different than their first album.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
kind of the
nobody.
same with like Bob Harvey.
Oh, yeah,
Bob
that was
Harvey,
one
they
of the
pretty much
bands
made
we
it clean.
played with. They were great. I really
Oh
liked
yeah.
them.
Yeah, they
And
actually released a new album, I think last year with Chuck from Jump Up.
oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
they're still doing something. But everybody else, yeah, really, from that era, I guess, like really Toasters and Bim Scala Bim are still doing it. Not even the Bosstones aren't even, doing their thing anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I think a band like Bim Scala Bim was sort of built to last, and Bucket seems to just find new band members every few years, and it really works.
Yeah.
But God, I mean, back in the day, the Toasters were like my favorite bands. Back in 1986, 87. Uh, when they had John Mad Dog Dugan on the saxophone. Oh, I'm wearing my tribute to Bucket, the Batman shirt. Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Well, he used to always wear a Batman shirt, like
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And so when I found the Batman shirt, I bought it because I figured, let me, do my Bucket imitation. But yeah, no, but it's my homage to Bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, that Recriminations album was the first one that I heard of his,
Oh, I
of
love
theirs.
that. I
And then that
always,
Throw Me Up and Skaboom that were just the shit.
oh yeah,
Love
I
them.
wanted to do, I wanted to do a cover of one of those songs with the Citizens. Oh, what was it? Radiation Skank.
Oh yeah, that the heavy bass line at the beginning.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah,
such a great song. Yeah,
yeah,
Steve Hex, the keyboard
that was
player, was
raw.
so good.
Say that
Yeah.
again. Sorry.
Steve Hex, the keyboard player, really shined on that first EP.
Oh,
So they didn't
yeah,
have any horns, Somebody had to do something, and he was so good.
yeah, yeah, that was great. And then I think they brought in another singer with Rob. Um, I forgot what his name is. Um,
Well,
God, I
in
forgot. He's the one. He did the toasting and everything on the first couple
well,
albums.
are you talking about the Unity 2, Sean and Lionel? They were the Toasters and the Toasters for the Skaboom album.
I
And
just
that was
remember. Oh, I just remember one of the guys.
Oh, you're talking about okay, so that would be after.
It would no, it was no. That was the after I think you're thinking about was when they did This Gun for Hire, but there was
Yeah.
another gentleman that did. He did the what is that ABC song? Remember he sang the ABC
Oh, yeah,
song?
right. That's Sean. That was Sean
Oh,
Cabo,
okay.
ABC.
Oh, got it. And then like Shocker, I think he did Shocker or something. I'm sorry, we're talking about another band
Yeah.
now.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I could talk about the Toasters all night, sure.
No, it's funny. I've seen them so many times that last on Saturday I just saw them from afar. I just sat down, but because
Oh,
it's just one of those bands that I've seen dozens of times, but they're still
sure.
great.
for
Absolutely.
me, it was my first time. I
Oh,
believe.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
really,
like, yeah. When I was watching them, I was like, oh man, I know all these songs. I can't believe I knew. Yeah, it was like wonderful. Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
awesome band.
yeah.
Who's it's hard for me not to see because I can only see Jose.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gone
it
and
looks like we
lost
just lost Robert's camera feed, and
yeah, me too. I don't know what's happening. So Jose, is it your turn on that?
yeah. So any horror stories from the road that have become like band folklore?
Horror stories.
Yes.
Gee. Um, we were
Oh,
really
he's back.
lucky on the road. We were really lucky on the road. I mean, the Toasters, Bucket just sent us in the right direction. I hear about these stories, but no, more, well, I suppose, the only trouble we ever had were at shows because they had gotten so violent, you know.
Oh, really?
Well, especially Los Angeles, no? Um, yeah. San Francisco was fun. But I mean, a typical Citizen show in New York back in the day at City Gardens or at CBGB's, that was considered like really violent for like a ska band. And yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, we were kind of dangerous in our time.
Yeah.
Uh,
What was going on in LA? Why was it so?
well, I remember playing a festival there back in, was it 1989? It was at Rosita. It was at the country club.
Oh yeah, the old
Yeah.
country club.
Right. And so what happens is we're in the middle of Plate of Monsters. It's a festival, no doubts there, the specs, the usual. Um, and we're in the middle of Plate of Monsters. Some kid comes up to the stage. There's security there, a lot of security. It was a big show. It was, and I could tell like something bad was going to happen. And here come these guys from New York, just like yeah, obtuse. And so what happens is the kid comes up to the stage, he spits at Paul. Paul
Oh,
spits back at him and gets him in the head. The kid tries to jump on the stage. Our keyboard player dives into the audience. The guitarist follows. I throw the mic and I leave. Coconut leaves. The drummer keeps playing. Um, And yeah, and the house lights go up. And I think Crucial DBC, those poor bastards had to go on after us. And
Oh,
yeah, it was a melee, and I'm telling the guys, after the show, what are you doing? Like it's like reaching your hand over a bar, to like dive into the audience. And
Mhm.
nowadays I can joke about it and say, wow, who do you think you are, Axl Rose? Um, but at the time, was there an Axl Rose to even compare to? Uh, but yeah, like, those would be like the nightmare stories, a bass amp going out and never going back on. That's a nightmare.
mhm.
Um, you know, but like on the road, we were really, really lucky because we had a great time.
Okay.
Driving through the desert, it was awesome. Going to see people in Arizona, and yeah, no, I mean yeah, but it gets
Awesome.
tiresome, doesn't it? Doesn't touring get tiresome? I can't imagine being one of those bands that are touring forever. You know, I could
Yeah.
record. I could record forever. I could go into a studio every few years, but I just couldn't imagine. We had a great bus too. We had like one of those 21 passenger buses, and we tore all the seats out and put you know couches, and we were all pimped out. And we were living in luxury because other ska bands like, wow, like who'd you kill to get this, and and it's basically money we'd saved up from gigs. And so we got out to California and that. And we were really, really lucky because everywhere we went, it was really, really cool until the show started, Then it was
Uh-huh.
like, you know, who knows what's going to happen,
Right.
So,
Well, it sounds like you guys
some,
were.
someone compared a citizen show to a Trump rally, and I was just so impressed by that. I was like, yeah, it really was. People getting pulled out by the hair and stuff. I mean, this isn't ska, it's like something more than that.
Yeah. Now, looking back, what do you think the New York citizens contribute to the ska history?
Well, gee, uh, subjectively,
Mhm.
uh, would be different than what. I mean, I would just answer that we were the first band that Bucket ever trusted to be on Moon Records. Um, and put an album out by us. I would like to think that we were the first band who were brave enough to be mixing this with that one and the other, because
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't remember. I really don't remember many bands doing that. You know,
Mhm.
I really, like there was no guidebook, there was no blueprint. You know,
Right.
I mean, there was Fishbone, but they had like an EP and an album out at the time, and I certainly wasn't comparing my band to Fishbone. You know,
Mhm.
you know, it's hard to compare the Citizens to anybody, really, isn't it?
Right. Yeah,
You know,
it is.
Now, I know back in the day, we're talking about the 90s, late 80s, 90s, compilations were a big deal for learning about new bands. We saw some of the records here. Now, do you feel that your band gained more exposure from being on these compilations?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, my advice to anybody would be, if someone asks you to be on their compilation, put something out. It doesn't matter if they're going to pay you or not. Just, get that exposure, because that exposure is a lot better than playing bars. You know, uh,
Mhm.
yeah, and as a music fan, compilations. It doesn't matter what genre of music. If you want to get into a style of music, pick up a compilation. Pick up something that somebody said was a really good comp. It doesn't matter if it's
Mhm.
neo folk or punk or ska or anything. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm sorry, Jose, it's your turn.
Oh yeah. So, what do you think? Now, what do you think younger bands, ska bands today could learn from your era?
Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go into a recording studio, spend all your money, buy a vehicle, drive across country to meet some other bands that you'd spoken to, and play shows together. Sell merchandise, and always cotton t-shirts,
Okay.
100% cotton. And always put the name of your band on your back, because more people will see it that way.
Okay, on the back. Okay.
Yeah. People don't, people won't look at you from the front necessarily, but they'll look at your back. Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if you're real familiar with the ska scene, either in your area, nationally or internationally. But if you are, what are your favorite current ska bands out there?
Well, have you heard of the Bandulas?
Yes.
Oh yeah, from Oregon. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They, I
Jeremy and
thought
Leah.
they were,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I really thought they were, like one of the best bands in America. The Hub City Stompers, very underrated, a really fun band. They have a great feel to their, like a bounce, That's why I wanted them to do a cover of Sticky Situation with me because they had such a bounce. It was, you can check it out on YouTube. It's a really great version of Sticky Situation, possibly
Yeah,
better than the original. Um, yeah, I mean,
we had
there's the
we had them set for an interview last week, I think, or the week before that had to be canceled. So we'll ask them that when we get back to them this in the next couple weeks.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah, yeah, the great guys. Yeah, we just actually talked to Jenny with her
Oh,
other
yeah,
band, Ruger Review,
sure,
last week. Hmm.
sure.
Solomon
Uh,
Cordone Fest. They're great. Oh man.
yeah. You've heard the Fenzik, right?
Yeah, we know
Mhm.
we know Mark.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I hung out with
Um,
Mark when he was here a couple of years ago.
yeah, sure. Uh, locally there are bands around. Internationally, there are bands around. Mexico. I Mexico seems like the next big thing, right? For ska band.
Yeah, it's been that way for quite a while. They have a
Yeah.
huge scene. And it's actually
The
coming over
Seattle
here. There's a lot of
is it,
ska core, and that's Jose is really familiar with that scene too.
it is the Seattle of ska these days. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
you know. But I think that it has to do with the venues in New York City, like the lack of venues, the venues that closed. When Wetlands
Mhm.
Preserves closed down downtown, you didn't get these people coming into Manhattan like you used to. After those places closed, CBGB's, the Ritz, um, so the Fensick are playing uptown in Harlem. And, I think that the scene, well, there is a place downtown, Subway to Scaville, and they've got some really great shows going on, and that's downtown. But I would say that, like,
Yeah,
the
that's
lack of
Ryan.
venues really hurt a
That's
lot of
DJ
bands.
Ryan that's doing that.
Hmm.
DJ Ryan Midnight. Yeah, he's got that
Yeah.
whole Subway to Snobville series thing, which is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
For all the especially touring bands, to come through
Oh,
and just do that show.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, right. It's this nation's saving grace, isn't it?
He's got
No,
Great
he's
that's
guy.
got
a
a
really,
going on.
Hmm.
Mhm.
that's a really great place. Um,
So of course the Fensick. I think Barbicide are they from there as well?
oh yeah, right.
Other side.
Barbicide, right. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rest in peace,
Yeah. Yep.
Michael Reich is
Right. Right. Rest in peace. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
You have Stop the Presses also out there in New York.
That's right.
Heard of them?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ska is not dead on the East Coast. Um, because they have the Supernova Festival, and you're always seeing new bands there.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
Mhm.
You've even got some of your boys like from Hub City Stompers. You said over in Jersey, Dirty Jersey. You've got Joker's Republic from
sure.
from out there too, which is more of a punk
Yep.
ska thing. You guys have a
Mhm.
lot of great bands from the area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ska is not dead.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
definitely not.
So I got a quick question before I do my last question.
Yes, sir.
Pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, not for me, but someone else. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So for my final question, now picture the Scott History Hour viewers discovering New York City citizens or New York citizens for the first time. Which track should they queue up and why?
I would have to say it would have to be lemon jelly.
Lemon jelly. Okay.
Well, you're going into you're going into the situation looking for a ska tune and something that's going to bounce around and have a live audience, and it's very non-contrived. It's not a studio track. Yeah, play Lemon Jelly.
All right, lemon jelly it is.
That's a good one. Now, what is your pet peeve or addiction?
Well, I take the Frank Zappa route of coffee and cigarettes. I mean, I only have one cup of coffee a day, but it is a cup of coffee. Yeah, that would be my one vice. Sure, that and record collecting.
Oh, okay, that's so funny. We get the record collecting thing more often than not.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I worked in like a half dozen record shops, so I'm really, I'm sort of like addicted to that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. How could you not be?
Right.
A lot of
Now,
great music out there.
what would one do with all those records at the end? I was thinking to myself, uh, you pass it down to somebody? You donate it to a museum?
I'm chumming up to my nephew. I'd like to give him my records. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because that's what I told my kids. My kids don't like ska at all. I don't know what's wrong with them. I raised them wrong. But I said, when I die, I want you to give all of my ska music, all of my stuff to one person who just would truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Truly appreciate it, not just. I saw your hand go up, Jose. But you'll probably die before me. And I'm just kidding.
It's probably true, bro. I go hard, bro. I go hard.
Yeah, you do. This guy. Yeah, because we lost you on Saturday night at the show, and then I saw you up at like 3 a.m. on Facebook. Still out and partying and stuff.
Yeah, I caught another show, the Bucko 9, across the way.
Oh, you did? I got a recording of part of that. You could see it all from the outside. It's basically you have to pay money to see the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rob, how did the demise of the New York Citizens come about?
Oh, it was a slow crawl. It was about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing shows, and the trouble was in between shows. Not taking that record contract. Recording some songs that maybe we don't want to show the ska scene. Things like that just build up, and I was just thinking, I'm handing these people lyrics because they don't want to use my music, and I'm explaining to them that, they have to write music to my lyrics. That never really happened. I bring it to the Atwood Nine, and basically the Atwood Nine to me was a continuation of the Citizens because they were writing the music over my lyrics that the Citizens couldn't do at that time. You know, at least half the Atwood Nine is the Citizens material that I had written for them, but the band was dissolving. One guy wanted to be in a rockabilly band, another guy wanted to be a jazz musician, and basically, it slowed down to a crawl, and it was just playing great shows. And our last show at Irving Plaza was really great, but you can't be on Moon Records forever. You really can't. You have to progress. And
Did
we
you
never
guys know that was your last show?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was it was understood for about a month. It was like, we're just gonna play the show and that'll be it. Or it was a series of shows that ended in New York at the Irving Plaza. And it was a great show. And I'm happy that we did it. And there were no hard feelings after the show or anything. But there was this understanding that the band wasn't going anywhere. If we're just gonna have to pay for our own recordings for the rest of our lives, why do it?
Right.
I think that Coconut really sealed our fate when he didn't take the deal with Tang.
Yeah.
But
that's
hey, that's show business.
Yeah.
You have to start a new band. You have to, do the right things. And the first thing I did was, hey, where are the Toasters playing? Let's get a gig with them. And we started all over again. Next thing you know, we're playing with Bim Scala Bim, we're playing with the Toasters, Inspector Seven, King Django, just everybody that the Citizens played with.
Yeah.
And eventually, people like the Hub City Stompers and Mephistopheles,
Yeah.
all great.
Yeah, because I think what's the name? I got Ryan, right, from the Hub City Stompers, the singer. He was an Inspector Seven, right? He changed band.
Well, Travis.
Travis, I'm sorry, I said right.
Yeah.
Travis, yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's something where like certain members of the Inspector Seven and Hub City Stompers, there's some sort of incestuous thing going on there. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
At Supernova in 2023, they had what was it? It was all the bands. It was the three bands that like it was like Inspector Seven, Hub City Stompers, and one other band that they were all members of that all played as a certain band.
Wild.
I'd have to look it up because I had that for one of their interview for their interview. I had that question, which I think it was. Oh, you remember a band from the late or mid '90s in Jersey called the Derringers?
No, but it's a cool name.
Yeah, that is a cool name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really cool name. They were from Jersey?
Yeah, they were from Jersey.
No, definitely not, but it's a really cool name.
Yeah.
Ska bands, huh?
Yeah, the Derringers. Yeah, they were pretty good. I actually they were on like one of those Scarmageddon, those Moon Records.
Oh yeah, we were on one of them.
You guys were on two of them. You guys were on two of them,
right?
I think.
It was like 100 bands for a nickel, right?
Those yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was. That's what it was. It was members of Inspector Seven and the Skoidats.
I liked them. Yeah.
They played as Droogs Don't Run. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, more of the oi boot stomping kind of thing.
Right. When I started the Atwood Nine, one of our missions was to play with the Skoidats, and they broke up like again months before we got to, we saw them, but we didn't play with them. They came to New York. I think they were living in New York, but they were from like Montana.
Oh, really?
I don't know where they were from, the Skoidats. Yeah. I thought they were
definitely good to move out of Montana and then get to New York.
Yeah, I could imagine the scene would be horrendous, right?
Nowadays there's 2 or 3 ska bands in every state. We interviewed a band called Flying Raccoon Suit from Mississippi. That's where they're from. And they said there's no other band around them. They have to go to another state to play with other ska bands.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, there's 2 or 3 bands in each of like Idaho. You have bands. You have bands in like you said, Minnesota. You have bands in all these crazy places. You don't think there would be bands, but now there are.
This was Bucket Stream. This was Bucket Stream. Bucket used to come to Staten Island, New York, and play shows and say, "If we can make it here, we can make it in any other state." And he was right. No, it's great what happened to it. It's great what happened to ska.
Yeah, the Scofflaws are still going strong too. Sammy and his buddies.
He's crazy.
I saw them a couple years ago in Long Island.
Oh, okay. On their home turf. Yeah, we played with them a few times down there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another great band. And Chuck Wren from Jump Up is putting out he put out a couple of their first albums he put out on vinyl.
Oh, which is cool. Them. Great.
He did. Maybe he should do something with the Citizens.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
I never think about doing anything with the Citizens material. I just always sort of like, let a sleeping dog lie. Um, but yeah, I suppose,
if there's interest, then definitely. I mean, like he redid. We're talking about Chuck. He's reissued a lot of the bands, a lot of things that just he wants to hear, which is awesome.
Sure.
So that's what he did with the Scofflaws. I think he did with the Skunks also.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think he
Eric Morgan's bands. I really like them.
Yeah, I
The
think
Skunk.
we're interviewing Steve Orders from the Skunks, and I don't
Okay.
know what other guys. I
Mhm.
think it's next week. I don't remember.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is get to some of the old bands, some of the bands that I loved growing up and nerd out over. So that's some of what we're doing. We're doing some international ones. We did Key Hammond last
Oh,
week.
yeah, Nick,
Yeah,
sure.
and we're doing the
Good band.
Scapones tomorrow.
Okay, good band. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a lot of great ones, coming up
Yeah.
there.
No, sounds like a great lineup.
And so that's what I was talking about, some of the live stuff that you guys have, because people like me who would love to hear some of those
Oh, yeah, sure.
session rehearsal tapes or anything like that.
Oh, no,
Anything that
I
is
understand where you're
obscure.
coming from. I mean, I'm a deadhead, so I understand the whole idea of like, finding live shows.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you a fish head too?
Oh, I love the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, but
Just
what about fish?
what's that?
Fish? You like fish as
Oh
well?
no, 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 God, no, no,
No.
no, no. We're talking about the all-encompassing Grateful Dead. Um,
Oh,
no, I mean,
fish is trying to be like the dead.
well, that's their problem. Uh, but no, but I mean, the Dead. Gee, like, is there a style of music they didn't do and do it well? They did reggae, like really sophisticated reggae. Um, no, I just, yeah, they're just, to me, they're the ultimate American band. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother is the one that got to see them when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Of course, that's towards the end with you know, what I forgot, in the dark. I think that was their last album, something like that.
Well, Built
Was
to
that the one?
Last was the last one, but
Oh, that's the last one. Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
But I don't own that, so it doesn't
Now,
matter. It's almost like it doesn't exist anyway.
now with the Citizens and Atwood Nine,
Yes.
where can we find both your music, physical and digital?
It's
Besides,
probably well, I mean, I would say that you can find the Atwood 9 on Bandcamp. The Citizens is a little more difficult. You're probably better off looking on eBay for a used copy of something or
Mhm.
Discogs. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, we haven't spoken in 30 years about anything. So um, I was more concerned with the Atwood Nine, and now I'm more concerned with the G City Rockers. You know, uh, I'm always looking forward until I need to look back. And the
okay.
ska scene always seems to do that with me. They always seem to, go backwards. And that's fine because I really had a great time when I was at the Citizens. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm thinking forward. I'm also thinking maybe a best of album.
Yeah,
Like what
for
if
sure.
what if I had a best of Robert Tierney and it was say 13 songs of things that I'd done with the Citizens and Legal
Yeah,
Gender and Yatwood Nine and you know
that would
whatever.
be killer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
because
be cool.
I did a project with Roger and Mark from Bigger Thomas, and we have a couple of songs that I would toss onto a best of. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that
you
would be
can.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mark's still doing his thing too.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, he's
doing
a
all that.
great songwriter. He's a great songwriter. He's not just a ska songwriter. And that was what really turned me on when we started going to Bill Laswell's studio, and we recorded a few songs. And I was like, wow, this guy's really, he's really something with music. He's not
Mhm.
just a bass player. And he's not just a ska scenester.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Oh,
Him and I are in a movie together about
excellent.
90s LA ska that hopefully will come out this year or next year. But him
Excellent.
and Chuck Wren flew out and did some interviews about it and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. And you know, Wasserman's got his I don't know, I think he just has the one book so far. He has a couple books.
Yeah, he does have a couple of books.
Kaboom. Yes, Kaboom.
Right.
That's the other-
Kaboom. Oh, the English Beat Book.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, you got a good memory there.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's a great guy to, go into a studio with, and he's not afraid to do things that are outside of the, coloring outside the lines.
Yeah.
And I always enjoy that.
Would you ever consider a citizens reunion?
I would consider it.
And just the other guys on board.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It wouldn't matter to me one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've often said no, but nowadays I'm just sort of like, it's just another band. And everybody who's in that band was just another bandmate. And it's like, like I don't think it's as important to me as it is to people who were never in other bands, but it is important to me. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have your legacy that you'll always have, putting your stamp on the New York and just the ska scene in general, which is fucking amazing. Hmm?
Yes.
Now, to sum up the interview, is there any last words that you have for the fans of the Outwood 9 or New York Citizens out there, or any of our viewers? Any last words?
I would just like to thank them for, the years of paying attention to me and getting my jokes and understanding my humor. I really had a great time with those live shows, I really did.
Well, hopefully, reunion will be in the works one day for one show, and that we could get out there for that. I don't know if you ever heard of a band called the Blue Meanies or Blue Meanies.
Sure.
Yeah. So I love them so much. I flew out with my buddy to Chicago to see the reunion show 2 years ago.
Sweet.
So that's something definitely I would do with your band.
I hear you. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for your time, Rob. We appreciate you, your band, everything you got going on. If there's anything you need, please let us know. But hold on real quick. We just got to ask you a question right after, okay?
Sure.
Hello, Skankers. Jose here, aka Skanky Force. Would you like to win a free Ska Box? It's as easy as following Ska Box Rocks and Sniff Dog Records on Instagram and Facebook. And subscribe to Ska History Hour on YouTube and comment Ska Box Rocks in any video to enter. Good luck!